Hello, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Hi, we're with
How
Shannon
are you?
Hills today. Hey, Shannon, how are you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Yeah, you look like you're thriving.
Yes, we have to. That's all we can do in these times is just,
Mhm.
be positive and, do what we can. So,
Yes,
yeah,
that's right. We're doing.
yeah, yeah. Well, but thank you so much for being here today. I I always start with my guests kind of talking about how we met and how we know each other. And so
Mhm.
I met, well, I was introduced to you, I'll put it that way, through a friend of mine. His name is Russell Coleman. You
Mhm.
remember him from your class, such a
Of
sweetheart.
course.
And he's the one that said, you gotta check Shannon out. And I was like, all right, I will. And I looked you up and, I think I had my consultation with you and I just loved your energy and you're just so caring. And I was like, yeah, I like her. And then from there on, I just kept on going.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I do these free new client special meetings just to get to know people and see if we mesh because I know if I was an actor and I'm, going to put money into investing in myself with coaching, I want to make sure I mesh with that person first. So that's kind of my way of being like, hey, are we clicking? Are we vibing? Great.
Yeah. And I feel like even in that short little meeting we had, I felt like I got a lot out of that. So that was it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, we'll talk
Yay.
about that later. We'll share that goodness with everybody in a little bit. But let's just go back a little bit to young Shannon, I guess. You're still probably very young, but tell me a little bit about your journey, like where you came, where you're from,
Yeah.
what you went to school for, if you went to school. Tell me a little bit
Mhm.
about your background.
Cool. Yeah. So I am from Long Island, New York originally, and I started as an actor. I loved Broadway growing up. My parents always took me at least once or twice a year to see a Broadway show, and I just lit up at, being there and then leaving the performance and getting the album after and just singing it in my room. And I've always loved performing. And so I was probably in middle school. I was in sixth grade when I started auditioning for plays and musicals and begged my parents to get me into some acting lessons. I had already been taking some singing lessons and dancing lessons at that point, and got a manager and an agent shortly after that and got to see what it was like kind of from an early age. I was probably 10 or 11. And so my parents would take me on a train into New York City once or twice a week to audition. And it's intimidating. I feel like I don't know if it's more intimidating as an adult or as a kid. Because I feel like kids could be a little bit more oblivious to the high stakes of what's going on. But I definitely felt it, and I got to feel that acceptance and the rejection really well. And so when it came time for college, I decided I wanted to be a musical theater major. I wanted nothing more. I had been taking all of these classes and training that were preparing me for this moment of going to college and getting to do what I love. And so, as I was touring colleges and auditioning at different schools, I fell in love with this small school in New York called Wagner College. And they have a really great theater program there. But what I didn't know at the time was that they only had one audition day. And I got a call from my admissions counselor saying, hey, you can't audition. It's already booked, but you could still come to the school and audition in the spring. And so I'm like, okay, fine. Like it was hard because that was everything I wanted in life. And to go into school and having friends that were already theater majors, it was just like, oh, but I do what you do too. And why can't I do that? So, luckily, my thoughts really changed the second I got there and I decided to go the business route. And for me, it was called arts administration. And I got to intern with a talent agency, Clear Talent Group in New York. I got to intern for a publicist. I got to intern for the Conan O'Brien show out in LA. And I got to intern for Telsey and Company, which is a really big casting office.
Mhm.
Huge, yeah, in New York City. So this was at the time they only had the New York branch, not the LA one. And so I fell in love with casting. I'm like, wow, this is what I want to do. This is amazing. Got to work on the Newsies tour. I got to work on the movie The Intern. I got to work on some commercials as an intern. It was all just a really cool experience to get to see casting in all different departments. So if anyone's interested in casting, make Telsey and Company your goal to intern there, because it's lovely. It's lovely. So after college, I moved out to LA. I had always told my parents, even when I was younger, that I meant to be in California. My first time visiting, I cried the whole plane ride home. So they knew that they lost me to California. So 2 weeks after I graduated, I moved out here and didn't have a job. I just kind of was like, you know what, it's going to happen. I'm not going to put any fear out. I'm going to trust that this is going to work. And about a month or two in, I got my first casting assistant job with Bullock and Snow Casting, and they do a lot of kid shows, specifically on Nickelodeon. So that was probably the coolest entry-level job that somebody could ever ask for that wanted to be in casting, because here I am with these two strong, hardworking, beautiful women as my bosses, setting an example for what casting is, and getting to work on set with kids. Like, it was just amazing. It was so fun. And it was my first time working on a lot and then having craft services every day. So it was cool. So that show ended, and then I needed to go to my next job, like figure out what was next, because that's what happens also with casting. A project ends, that office is no longer casting. So I'm like, well, I need a job. So I met Brett and Colin at Greenstein Daniel Casting, and that's where I was for 6.5 years. And I loved it. They are an office that works really hard and works on so many projects at once. And it definitely was an adjustment to get used to working on 4 or 5 shows at once. But after being there so long, I finally became the associate, and I got used to it. That was my new normal, to work on that much television at once. And so I was able to really grow my resume fairly quickly, to over 50 TV shows and some movies of the week, some Christmas movies. So it's been so much fun. They're such a lovely office. We do mainly comedies. And so tying into, and I'm sorry, I'm talking a lot, but it's the whole story. It's the whole journey.
It's a journey. I mean, you can't sum up all your years in like a minute. So
Exactly. So I want to say last year, a year and a half ago, I started working with an intuitive healer. And I always promise people there's a point to this story, because they're like, why you just throw an intuitive healing stuff in when you're talking about casting? But my point is, I started working with an intuitive healer who is my next door neighbor, and she just started working on recovering my energy, getting me into alignment with certain things that I was desiring at the time. And she had always kind of hinted to me like, hey, like you're not fully stepped into your soul's purpose yet. I'm not going to tell you what that is, but you're going to figure that out on your own. And so I'm like, okay, what does that mean? And so in the last year and a half, I was just kind of thinking, being at the casting office, I'm like, is casting really what I want to do for the rest of my life? This is a lot of work. The hours are demanding. You are at so many people's beck and calls, studio and network, agents and managers, your creative team. It is a tough industry to be in, especially if one day the goal is to have a family. I'm not saying that's not possible, because I've seen it firsthand that it is, but it's challenging. And so I came to terms with it wasn't for me. I knew I didn't want to be a casting director, but loved my job, was super happy, loved the shows I got to work on, love this industry. It's all I've known my whole life. And so I started just doing these journaling exercises, and Keisha's familiar with a lot of these exercises because I started tying them into what I call my finding yourself first method, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But it's basically these journaling prompts, just getting you to kind of see what feels good in your life, what's blocking you in your life, getting it all into alignment. And it took me about 6 months to realize, wow, I can still be in this industry. I can be my own boss. I can help multiple people at once and have an even bigger impact helping them coaching versus casting, because casting was so transactional to me. Someone comes in the audition room, does their scene, leaves. I never see them again. Even if they book the part, I never see them again. It's like, have fun on set. And I'm just such a people person. So this all made sense to me. Coaching, I mean, I still get chills talking about it. I knew that it was my purpose to just be helping actors in this space, bringing in my self-love practices is what I call it, all the exercises and tools I have learned and have been given, and bring it to a space where rejection is a real thing and it's a hard thing. And I want to make actors feel really good about who they are. And sometimes that doesn't mean just being an actor. It means in every area of your life, you need to be feeling good always.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, no,
what you say?
no, I was gonna say that it's I can kind of relate to what you just mentioned a minute ago because I started my journey like in the business because I'm an educator before all of this, but I started out in the modeling area and doing modeling like come on photo shoots and stuff like that, and the same thing. It didn't do anything for me. Like you said, you use the word transactional. It just felt like it was just so static. And then when I got into acting, it was kind of like, oh, okay, this is it. So like you said, that inside of you that something is still not exactly where you need to be, where you should be, I should say. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, I'm all about trusting those gut feelings. That's your intuition. And the more I've learned to do that, the stronger my intuition has been. And it's led me to also doing intuitive healing and energy work, just like my mentor did on me. We all have those gifts. It's just a matter of strengthening them and training them to be a little more open and receptive to other people's energies. So I do that also. But yeah, it's all about those gut feelings. And I think anyone that I would tell at first, like, hey, I'm leaving casting to start my own business during a pandemic, everyone looked at me like, what the heck? Um, and I'm still kind of going through it. It feels like a breakup in a way because I love my bosses. I love my job. I love the shows we work on. I just know it's not my end game. And I can either keep going and delaying what my real purpose is, or just start now and trust the gut. And that's what I did. And don't get me wrong, I have days where I'm like, this is crazy. Am I doing this? But most of the time I know I'm like, yes, it's not meant to be easy. Nothing is meant to be easy. So, yeah, here I am 5-6 months into coaching and it has been incredible. There hasn't been a single day that has felt like work to me. And I've just met so many actors over this pandemic, and it feels more purposeful now in these 5 months than I did in my last almost 7 years in casting. So it feels good to be where I'm at currently.
Oh, I love it. Yeah. So now you, like you said, you're not currently in casting at the moment.
Right.
But were in casting for many years. Um,
Mhm.
is there any audition tips that you can give you can give actors that you've seen over the years, people
Yeah.
coming to audition rooms? Any tips
Mhm.
you can give to us?
Sure. Yeah. So, biggest tip, and I'm actually writing out a course right now on this because it is just the most important thing, is your mindset.
Yes, yes.
It's the most important thing. Like, talent aside, if that mindset's not right, your talent's out the window. So I am like really excited about this class that I'm gonna teach probably in the next few weeks, but I've been hacking at it for weeks now. Um, Having the right mindset and knowing that you hold the power in those rooms. I think any actor would think otherwise, saying, oh no, casting holds the power, or these creative teams hold the power. You hold the power in we want you just as much as you guys want to be booked, because if you do a good job, you made casting look great in front of our bosses, which is our creative team.
Yeah.
So it really is an equal flow of exchange, but I think actors don't realize that. And I think the second you take that pressure off yourself, having to do good and trying to impress, because the most important thing is we want you to be yourself. And that is what I really drive home in all of my classes, is that finding yourself first method and knowing what you bring to the table and what you bring to the character. That way you're not molding yourself into something that's not you. So I really think it's about that positive mindset, knowing you have the power. Obviously, preparation. You don't want to go in there just on the fly. You definitely want to be prepared, but also allow a little room for some new creative energy as well to happen in the room. You don't want to overwork yourself, because I also think actors, a lot of times I see them being perfectionists, especially with self-taping. Now that you know that you can get an audition perfect, there's no such thing as perfect, but getting it as close as you want it to be, you're going to do it over and over and over again. And that is exhausting. So you need to just trust, hey, I'm going to prep it the same way I do in in-person audition. I'll maybe give myself 2 or 3 takes and then I'm done. I'm going to leave it at the door. I'm going to send it and never think about it again. And so if you can just kind of get in that mindset, even when auditions that happen in person happen again, you want to just leave it all in the room, because there's the mindset of getting an audition. There's the mindset of being in the audition room. And then there's also the mindset of going on with the rest of your day and not thinking about the results of that audition. So that is probably my best advice that I can give for someone who's lived in the audition room and sees actors being self-deprecating and just really see it in your face when you're nervous or when you're overly confident. And it's just, it's sad to see on the other end. And that's all the more reason why I'm like, nope, this is what I'm going to teach and be proud of to bring to a community who can now shift their mindsets to more love-based thinking than fear-based thinking.
Mm-hmm. So, thanks. Those are some really great tips that, I mean, because we all need that, you know, we all get in our head in the audition room. So thank you for sharing that. That was awesome. Also, you said earlier that when you were casting, at least at your previous casting job, you did a lot of comedy. What is the difference, do you feel, even the energy maybe the actors should bring or what they should do when they go in for a comedy audition versus a drama audition?
I feel a very good general rule of thumb for drama, you can always do less with your face, little less with your energy. The pacing's typically slower because it is a little bit more focused on the reactions that are happening in your face. So you don't have to do these crazy, wacky expressions like multicam comedies, right? And then with comedies, you have single cam comedies and multicam comedies. And I always can tell actors are typically one or the other, or they're definitely more drama focused actors or comedy focused actors, or you do both, and that's great. And obviously the goal is to do both, but you can just kind of get a feel from somebody's vibe, from somebody's energy, what type of actor they are. And so I really haven't done any dramas, maybe besides we did this Menendez Lifetime movie, so that was drama. I like, speaking from a casting standpoint, I don't know how casting offices that do the drama shows, how they do it, because the language, the legal jargon, the medical terms, and then they're typically these really big, lengthy guest stars or co-stars. And it's a lot to sit and hear that over and over and over again, where comedy, if you're going to make me laugh every time, I would much rather be in a room for hours laughing than getting, watching a victim die, or, you know what I mean? So I definitely prefer comedies, and that is my wheelhouse. That is what I know. But it really is all about that energy and that pacing. Single cams, you can also kind of tone it down a little bit with your energy and your pacing, whereas multicam, it's got to be sped up. And that, people might think multicam, actually it depends who you ask, but I think people would say, oh yeah, multicam's easy. You just kind of like pretend you're doing live theater or something. It is so hard because if your energy or pacing is off ever so slightly, it doesn't work. You have to hit both at the same time and be very consistent. Otherwise, it doesn't work. We see it all the time. So there are only a handful of people who can really handle that. And it involves so much more energy as an actor to turn it on to that heightened level. I always give the multicam stars so much credit because it's exhausting to be like,
Yeah, that's good.
you know, very perky the whole time and hitting jokes and making real sad moments really sad. And it's a lot. And we've done a lot of multicams. It's not my cup of tea. It's still cool. I appreciate it. I'm definitely more single cam comedy girl.
You know, one of the things I loved too in the class that you taught was that one of the things that, you know, even just watching other people, when you said just be yourself or bring yourself, and how much more funnier it was. Because sometimes you think you have to like put on something, especially in comedy, because you think I gotta be big, you know, I gotta whatever. And yeah, sometimes that works, but if that's not really you, maybe being small is actually funnier, you know. So
I will say 9 times out of 10, being small is going to be funnier. Being more yourself is going to be funnier because if you're going in for a show like Superstore, like American Housewife, the sides are already funny. So there's not a lot an actor has to do to make it more fun, more funny. So you're right. Yeah, I preach that time and time again. And hopefully you saw being in the class when I give someone that note and they simplify it, it's 10 times more funny because there's nothing worse than watching somebody do the shtick, do the pushing. It doesn't work for most people or for most projects. So yeah, really, if comedy actor watching this, do a couple different versions. Film yourself, watch yourself, see what works, but most of the time it's going to be the more grounded one that we respond to.
yeah, I think our fear, at least, I mean, I guess I'll speak for myself. I think our fear when it comes to comedy is that it's like you're thinking, I want to be funny. You know what I mean? Because you see what you see on TV or whatever, and you're just like, I have to do something to be funny, you know? So I think that that's what the fear is, you know, as actors, you know, but that's why training is so important, you know, and you know, that's the way you get better is by training.
That's right.
Yeah,
Totally.
and that'll work. Yeah, so that was great. So let's skip a little, let's rewind back a little bit and spend some time because, like I said, now you're not currently casting, but right now you're doing coaching. So let's dig a little bit deeper into that. So
Yeah.
you earlier about how you are intuitive. Now, is it intuitive reader or intuitive healer? Like, what is the right terms? And
Yeah.
tell us, you know, exactly what you did. I mean, how it works, I should say, I guess.
Yeah. So it's definitely something I'm still new to, but I'm in a mentorship program and I'm basically taking classes every night. Um, Simplest way to put it is we are all made up of energy. And I give this example almost every time, but it's the most like, yes, I know what you're saying example. When you walk into a house, a party, your workplace, you can already feel the vibe.
Yeah.
If people are in there, you could tell who's having a good day. You could tell who's having a bad day. You're reading energy.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. And so basically, what an intuitive reader does is we pick up on that energy, but we're channeling. So we do like a little meditation beforehand to open us up, and then same with you guys. And I'm basically channeling their higher self and my higher self. And basically connecting to source, universe, God, whichever word resonates with people, and getting clear on answers. And for me, I kind of go through a little checklist of things that I can ask, right? Like what their soul frequency is currently vibrating at, what are their current blocks in their life, why are they their current blocks, what do they need to be doing to get back into alignment and be in their highest soul potential. And I really kind of just ask myself, and for me, I actually hear it in my head. Everybody's different. I have friends who see things. I have friends who literally hear things, but for me, it sounds like I'm talking to myself in my head. It's definitely not for everybody. It's a big concept to grasp, but it is the coolest thing ever. And I never thought I'd be able to do it, but we're basically just connecting and channeling answers. So it's not me or my ego giving you the answers. These are channeled answers from your higher self to my higher self, connecting to source, connecting to light, connecting to God. And yeah, it's basically the goal is to always be in alignment, because when you're in alignment, you're in that frequency to match for things that you desire. And it's very easy to get out of alignment. I mean, you could be sitting in traffic and being like, oh, this day is annoying. You're out of alignment, right? There's little things that just shift you each day. And obviously, the more we hold on to limiting beliefs or people that irritate us, or, you know, just things that make us feel not so good inside, the bigger and longer it takes to heal it. Like, those are issues you really need to work through, right? Otherwise, you're going to start manifesting some not so fun things. And that's just how it works. And that's why that law of attraction, positive attracts positive, negative attracts negative. My whole goal is to get actors to switch from that fear-based to love-based, to always be in that positive and always be in alignment for feeling good. And so energy healing is a little different, because then I have to kind of look at your body and I deal with your chakras and see if they're out of alignment or not. And I channel different healings for specific chakras, and sometimes even injuries, or, you know, this is a bigger concept to grasp, but like even being bipolar or anxiety, a lot of times it's actually spiritually connected. And I can kind of check in and see how to fix that. I'm not saying I'm a doctor by any means, but this is just what I've learned through energy healing. And that's where my meditations come in, and a soul recovery, and cleaning your aura, and boosting your chakras. It involves a little bit more energy work versus intuitive reading, intuitive energy reading. That's more me kind of just getting your vibe, going through my list of questions, how to get you into alignment. Whereas the healing is a lot more that I have to do on my end to make sure that it's working, and that we're calling in the healing energies to make you feel good. So that's kind of the difference between the two. And it's just been interesting. I know I have a long way to go with it, but I've just learned so much and have just seen and felt and experienced such beautiful things for myself and for other people. So I'm really all about it. And that's why I like to take this holistic approach to acting for actors and coach them and say, hey, like, before we touch this scene, are we good? Are we in alignment? Are we feeling good? Because you can have all the talent in the world, but if something's off inside, you're not going to get what you desire.
And that's what I love, which brings us into my next question. And I think this is, this is all part of just finding ways to bring together everything that you kind of love. And I love seeing how things kind of fall into place. Because even for my talk show, like I'm an actress, and so yeah, it's a talk show, but it's enabling me to use my skills being on camera, in this different format. And so I think for you, I think it's so exciting because you're able to use your casting experience, even acting experience. So once again, shows that nothing is wasted, because you were an actress at one point too. So all of that combined into something else you found that you love and created this beautiful thing, and so I was going to ask you how you're using the combination, which you kind of just said, combining the two worlds together for actors.
Yeah. It's cool, because I think old Shannon would have been like, those are two separate careers. Like, that wouldn't work out. And now I'm like, why not? Let me be a multrapreneur, right? And bring all these different little businesses together and combine it and make it this beautiful thing that really doesn't exist yet in this industry, that I think could be, not to say life-changing for people, but it could really help people. And it's all for a greater good of everybody. That's the most important thing, is You wake up and you go, okay, how can I help others today? And I think I've always had that mentality, but with casting, a lot of days I'm just hacking away at paperwork and deal memos and agreements and putting out offers. And I'm like, okay, how is this helping anybody? Where this feels so much more purposeful and tangible, and I see the results. And so it is cool to blend it all together. And basically how I do that is I created the Find Yourself First method. And it's basically a way for actors to take specific journal prompts or specific exercises and get in touch with who they are and really get clear on who they are, not how others perceive them, but how you perceive yourself, most important thing. And then also tackling limiting beliefs, releasing those beliefs, letting those go, and then calling in things that you desire, like a desired career, attributes of a desired career. You can literally manifest exactly what you want, how to feel in that career, because it's always about that feeling, right? It's not, I want to be an actor. No, you want to be an actor because of the feeling behind acting, not just the title. So, it's all about that feeling. That's kind of a manifesting one-on-one for people, is get behind the feelings of things that you desire. And that's the easiest way to get into alignment with that. So yeah, I've combined that with my acting exercises. And of course, as you know, in my workshops, we of course go over auditioning techniques and approaching comedic sides. And I always provide everybody with some sides. And so we do a nice blend of a little bit of spiritual work, a little bit of inner work, but also we approach it from the acting angle as well.
What type of services do you offer? I mean, I know, but I'll have you.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Hey, thanks for asking. So yeah, I'm currently offering 30-minute and 50-minute one-on-one sessions, and this can be used for actors who get an audition and want me to coach them, and then I can also be their virtual reader. I do that with most of my one-on-one sessions, so we can use it that way. I also do one-on-one intuitive healing sessions or intuitive energy reading sessions. I also just put out a quick coaching little service, which for actors who maybe don't have that money to spend on a one-on-one class or one-on-one session, they can send me their self-tape and I'll provide them with feedback within that same day for retaping notes. So that's kind of like a smaller way of coaching. And then I also offer meditations once a month. I do a Unlocking Your Authenticity class, which is exactly how I found you. And then I do a kid version of that called Finding Me in the Scene. It's basically all the same thing. And then I'm going to be putting out some classes soon. Like I said, I'm doing a one-off class on mindset and how important that is. I'm going to do a class on journaling with a purpose, because a lot of people want to journal, but they don't know how. So I have a lot of fun things in the works, and basically my goal for all of those things is to get you feeling good, right? And to just know that you are worthy no matter what. That is, at the end of the day, my biggest mission with anything I do. So yeah, I do, whether you want to come to me for intuitive things or acting things, I want to help any way I can.
And you're, I feel like you're affordable, very competitive and affordable. So, it's not going to break your pocketbook or anything. And like I said, when you come into a session with you, you're kind of getting a full rounded experience. And I feel like I read on your website too, I'm not sure if it's you, correct me if I'm wrong, but you'll be like a reader if someone has like a.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I think a lot of actors, yes, there's other ways of, you can use your roommate, you can use your friend, but I think having a reader who knows what the energy needs to be and what the pacing needs to be is really beneficial, because it really makes or breaks your scene. I'm not saying you're going to go into an audition and every time have the greatest reader in the world, but at least to practice and know that, hey, I could do an audition from home. You want to make sure that reader is spot on with you and matching your energy. So I always recommend someone reading with someone who knows what they're doing. But yeah, I can definitely offer the virtual reading. Basically what happens is I'm on one device, either a laptop or computer or a cell phone, and then they're filming on another device. So I'm at the same time reading and coaching them while they're filming.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, that's so great. I'm so glad you're doing this. I think especially now in this day and age or this time period where we're going to be doing a lot from home. So we need to have, people like you that we can call on for help. Like SOS help me. So yeah, that's really great.
Thank
And
you.
like Shannon mentioned, I've taken her class before, the Unlocking Your Authenticity workshop. Amazing, nice small group, and it was just such a great way to learn pretty much what Shannon teaches as far as the intuitive side and kind of clicking into who you are and then putting that into the work. So that class is really honestly kind of eye-opening. I feel like I got a 2-for-1 in a way because no, seriously, because I was doing a lot of me work, you know what I mean? Not just doing scenes. So I thought that was really a cool way of putting it together. So you're on, girl.
Thank you so much.
Yay. So I know that, and it's funny because, as we talk, things have changed with your casting side. Do you feel like if you weren't doing this particular job right now, what's your fantasy job? I know what mine would be. I'll share with you mine.
Let me hear it.
It's kind of related to acting too, but I don't know if it'll ever happen. But I've always wanted to be a superhero. Like I want to be in a superhero, TV show because I've Wonder Woman. So it's like my fantasy is just to be like, this powerful like superhero.
I love it. I love it. Mine would be, it's also kind of acting related. I would love to voice something within Disney, like Disney princess, whatever. Like I still love to sing. And I know that I was a decent singer. Like I know that I can, I always still sing show tunes. That's always a part of my life. I love musicals. I also think if Broadway was in California and I could have like best of both worlds, I would have probably still considered trying to pursue that. But I just love California so much. And obviously it all happens for a reason. I'm definitely grateful to be where I'm at and know that I'm fully in my purpose now. But yeah, I think voicing somebody, like doing voiceover work, which, hey, it's not too late. Maybe one day.
Never.
Yeah.
You can still do it. Yeah, you can still do it. Yeah, holding out for my superhero role.
Yes.
Never
say never.
I'm gonna probably end up playing Michelle Obama because everybody tells me that. So I'll probably end up playing her in the.
Yes, I could see it. Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. So just strong female lead. We're getting it. It's gonna happen.
I love it. Yes. Well, this is so awesome. I so appreciate you coming on today and I want everyone to check Shannon out. So tell everyone where they can find you on social media and your website.
Yeah, so you can find me. My Instagram is at Shannon Bills Coaching. And then my website is just my name, shannonbills.com. So either of those two things, I check them both frequently. And I'd love to work with you guys.
Easy breezy. And a great way to jump in, which is what I did because I didn't know Shannon at all. If you want to just get to, like she said, get to know her, get your vibes and see how it goes. She has start off by doing her 20-minute quick consultation just to kind of, and it's absolutely free still, right? It's free. Yeah. And I guarantee that you'll want to keep going for more of that.
Thank you.
Free and, just to get to know her. And then I was like, all right, fine. I'm taking the class. I can't help.
I love it. Thank you.
So yeah, that's a great way to kind of get yourself to get to know you better. And so definitely go check out her website, shannonbills.com, as well as her Instagram, follow her. And I am so thrilled and excited to see what your future holds, Shannon.
Thank you so much. Same for you.
Thank you so much. And
thank you.
We'll see each other again. I'll probably be on the phone calling you soon, I'm sure.
Can't wait. Thank you.
Isn't Shannon amazing? head on over to Instagram and follow her at Shannon Bills Coaching, as well as on her website, shannonbills.com, for more information. And please don't forget to follow me as well on Instagram at Keisha Barr, and check out more of my videos right here on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Bye.